The conflict between Aries Spears and VladTV has officially spilled into public territory, and it's bigger than most people realize. At the center of it all is a dispute over money, contracts, and the question of what a talent's time is truly worth. But this story doesn't start and end with one person. It's part of a larger pattern of high-profile payment disagreements that have pulled in names like Boosie Badass and Marlon Wayans. As we dig into the details behind these deals and public call-outs, one question keeps rising to the surface. Is Aries out of line for demanding more, or has VladTV been quietly underpaying the culture all along? Let's break it down. The friction began when Aries Spears, a long-time and high-frequency guest on VladTV's platform, decided it was time to renegotiate his rate. According to Aries, he approached Vlad not just as a business partner, but as a friend, someone he felt had a genuine relationship with him beyond the camera. His argument was straightforward. After the departures of Lord Jamar, Godfrey, and Tony Yato, he believed he had become one of the last remaining pillars of VladTV's original roster. In his view, loyalty and longevity deserved to be reflected in his compensation.
Vlad decided to do an interview where he's taking shots at me and throwing me under the bus. And let me just say for the record, Vlad, you are a coward, a narcissist, and a hypocrite. Because I didn't even really watch the whole video, because what turned me off immediately was he started out by saying, "We not friends." You said to me in my face on multiple occasions that we are friends. But now all of a sudden, because I asked you for a bump in pay and that pissed you off, we're not friends? So which is it? Tell the truth. And let me give you all a little bit of backstory. So basically I called Vlad and said, look, I feel like I want a little bit of bump in pay because I know my value. You once had Lord Jamar, Godfrey, Tony Yayo, Boosie, and me, all of which many times people said were your best guests. Who's the only one left? Me.
Spears was clear that he wasn't asking for an unreasonable sum, just a meaningful increase that reflected the real value he consistently delivered to the channel. By his account, this was meant to be a quiet, professional conversation between two people who knew each other well. Instead, it became anything but quiet. Rather than keeping things behind closed doors, Vlad took the dispute public. He appeared alongside DJ Academics and didn't hold back, accusing Aries of pocket-watching and claiming the real issue was jealousy over what Boosie Badass earns from the platform. Vlad went further, dismissing Aries as a mid-tier comedian and making it clear that, as far as he was concerned, their professional relationship was finished. From Vlad's perspective, Aries had no legitimate grievance. He claimed Spears was already walking away with roughly half the revenue after expenses, and on top of that, alleged that Aries had been disrespectful toward his production staff, including making repeated demands for a makeup artist at every single sitting. And this is where the story hits its first real turning point. Aries contends that his interviews consistently drive new subscribers to VladTV's membership tier, and that many of those subscribers leave once his content is gone. To him, that's measurable influence, and it should carry weight in any serious negotiation. Vlad, however, flips that argument entirely. His position is that the platform's reach and reputation are what made Aries' clips explode in the first place. That without VladTV's infrastructure, those moments never go viral. So who's actually right here? Is Aries overstepping by pushing for more when Vlad insists he's already one of the platform's highest compensated guests? Or has Aries genuinely helped build something valuable, only to be handed the smaller piece of a deal he never fully controlled? Aries, for his part, left no room for interpretation. In a pointed public response, he labeled Vlad a coward, a narcissist, and a hypocrite. He also leveled a broader accusation, calling Vlad a culture vulture who repeatedly turns to the black community to drive his numbers, then walks away with the majority of the profit.
What about the culture vulture thing?
Another word for honky.
Right.
You know what I mean? Honky, cracker. I mean, it goes across the board. Like, this is something that white people have been called for decades and decades. And so, and the thing about it is that when you look at the other people in hip hop who are also called culture vultures. Steve Rifkin, who I worked with for a long time, Leo Cohen, who I know. Like, these are massive contributors to the culture, more so than me.
Aries also made a more personal accusation, claiming that Vlad would regularly request free tickets and shoutouts at his live comedy shows, essentially using their relationship to keep the spotlight on himself without offering anything in return. Despite all of it, the public call-outs, the name-calling, and the accusations flying in both directions, Aries made one final offer. He proposed sitting down for one last interview, completely free of charge, with a single condition: that the two of them hash out the truth on camera in front of the audience that watched them build this dynamic together.
Godfrey stopped because of the beef with Farrakhan, as did Lord Jamar. Tony Yayo just doesn't do it anymore. And Boozy wanted a raise. Come to find out, Boozy wanted $35,000 an episode. Wow. He was getting $25,000.
Wow.
I don't get nowhere near that. And, you know, obviously it's based on the numbers, because a lot of Boozy's clips are in the millions. Now, again, I've had a few clips in the millions, but a lot of my stuff, the full interview, probably ranges around $300,000 to $500,000. So I basically said to Vlad, I go, hey, listen, man, I'm not trying to rape you financially. I know I'm not going to ask you for what you gave Boozy. Come on, man. I mean,
Break bread.
break bread. And he goes, well, your numbers don't generate what Boozy generate. And so I showed him a bunch of, you know, people that quotes and on YouTube and shit like that, and on my phone. And one person said, hey man, I only buy Vlad subscriptions when I know he's interviewing you. Once the interview's over, I cancel the subscription. Another guy said, hey man, Aries is a beast. Pay him what you pay in them other. And I said, listen man, again, I'm just saying, be fair.
But Aries Spears isn't the only one who has taken issue with how VladTV handles its talent. To really understand why this situation escalated the way it did, you have to look at what's being called the Boosie effect. Boosie Badass sent shockwaves through the industry when he revealed on The Breakfast Club that he earns approximately $500,000 a year from his VladTV appearances alone. That single statement cracked the door wide open. Additional reports began circulating suggesting that Boosie pulls in anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 per individual episode, numbers that, given his consistent viewership, aren't entirely surprising. But once those figures became public knowledge, something shifted. Suddenly, other longtime VladTV contributors had a reference point. They could now measure their own compensation against a known figure, and for many of them, that comparison didn't sit well. The floodgates opened almost immediately. Vlad himself acknowledged the chaos, though in typical fashion he addressed it with a joke, posting on social media that he might need to launch a GoFundMe just to keep the lights on, now that every regular guest was expecting Boosie-level paydays. It landed as a troll, and most people took it that way, but underneath the humor, the issue it pointed to was completely real.
I ain't do Vlad no more. We couldn't come up with a agreement. He didn't want to pay me. I wanted $5,000 more than he wanted to pay me. He didn't want to pay me, so I think I'm gonna make more money doing it this way. And I'm editing my interview now.
Is it ungrateful for guests to push for a larger share of a platform that Vlad has spent years building into an estimated $10 million operation? Or does the fact that VladTV's entire model depends on the draw of these personalities mean they're entitled to something closer to a genuine partnership? Then there's the Marlon Wayans situation. Marlon reportedly came to the table asking for $40,000 plus 30% of the revenue generated from his interview. Vlad's response was blunt. He called the ask delusional. He laid out the numbers publicly, arguing that Marlon's interviews typically land around 300,000 views, which converts to only a few $1,000s in YouTube ad revenue. From a pure math standpoint, Vlad argued the deal simply couldn't work. Marlon didn't let it go quietly. He took to X and fired back, accusing Vlad of being unprofessional for airing private negotiations in public, essentially putting a black man on blast for having the nerve to name his price. And just like Aries, Marlon reached for the same label, culture vulture. It's a term that has followed Vlad before, previously used by figures like Lord Jamar and Tyrese, and it keeps resurfacing for a reason, because this is really the heart of the conflict. Vlad operates through a strict data-driven lens. If the view count doesn't support the asking price, the answer is no, full stop. But the guests are coming from a completely different place. They see themselves as more than content. Their stories, their experiences, and their personalities are what keep people coming back, and they feel that contribution deserves to be honored beyond what an analytics dashboard can measure. So when Vlad publicly dismisses someone like Marlon Wayans as delusional, or reduces a veteran like Aries Spears to mid-tier, the question becomes unavoidable. Is he operating as a sharp businessman who simply knows his margins, or is the culture vulture label finally starting to stick for good? VladTV is approaching what looks like a genuine inflection point. If major draws such as Boosie and Aries walk away permanently, Vlad will need to rebuild his roster from the ground up, and there's no guarantee the next wave of talent generates the same kind of loyal viewership. So here's the question worth sitting with. Is Aries Spears out of line for demanding compensation that by the numbers may exceed what his views actually generate? Or is Vlad quietly pocketing the lion's share of a profit that his guests make possible, while those guests absorb all the reputational risk by showing up on camera? Is Vlad a calculated media mogul who simply plays by the numbers? Or is the culture vulture label finally starting to stick for good?